Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing a Starry Night deck profile. So I'm really excited this week guys, because this deck is a really awesome deck that revolves around special summoning out this really insanely cool boss monster, Starry Night Starry Dragon. So, without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards like getting your name description in a single video, getting a signed cards mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon all along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Starry Night Starry Dragon. This card is a very interesting card. I love what it does for the deck, and it's a really cool boss monster because if this card is normal or special summoned from your hand, then you can target one card on the field and destroy it every single time this card is special summoned, which is a great effect. And it cannot be destroyed by battle with a dark monster or by a dark monster's card effect. And then once per turn at the start of the damage step, if this card attacks an opponent's monster, you can banish that opponent's monster until the end phase, and also this card can make a second attack in a row. It is a great card for this deck, and it is a really fun card to just be able to constantly special summon and pop cards on the field. We then play 3 of these Starry Night Rael. Rael is a really good normal summon in this deck because when it's normal summoned, you can add a Starry Night spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And you can banish this card from the graveyard to target a Starry Night monster in your graveyard and special summon it back to your side of the field, which comes in very handy with our Starry Night monsters. We then playing 3 copies of Starry Night Astel. Astel is really good as well too because this card has the ability to quick effect, target one light monster you control and tribute it, and if you do, special summon a level 7 light dragon monster from your hand. And you can banish this card from the graveyard and then target one level 7 light dragon monster you control, and it gains 1,000 attack until the end of your opponent's turn, which is a pretty good effect just to be able to increase it by an additional 1,000 attack, going all the way up to 3,500. We then play 3 copies of the new Starry Night monster. This card is really good for the deck, and I really love what it does, that you can quick effect, target one light monster you control and tribute it, and if you do, set a Starry Night spell or trap directly from your deck, and if a face-up level 7 light dragon monster you control returns to the hand while this card's in your graveyard, then you can special summon this card back to your side of the field. I really love this card in the deck. It is a definite 3-of for this build, and it just helps out the deck so much, giving us a little bit more consistency for what the deck is. We then play a single copy of Ciel. Ciel is also pretty good in the deck too, because what it does is if this card is in your hand, you can return one Starry Night monster or a level 7 dragon monster you control to your hand. You can summon another copy of itself to special summon this card, and if this card, or if you control no monsters, you manage this card from your graveyard to special summon one level 7 light dragon monster from your hand, which is pretty good just to be able to special summon out your copy of your Starry Night Starry Dragon. We then play a single copy of Flamel. Flamel is just a 1-of, just like Ciel. This card is pretty good as a 1-of in the deck though, because when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can send this card from your hand or face from field to the graveyard, special summon a level 7 light dragon monster from your hand, and then quick effect, you can also banish this card from the graveyard to target a level 7 light dragon monster you control or in your graveyard and return it to the hand, which is a pretty good effect just to be able to return it back so you can then activate its effect again when you special summon it. We then play a single copy of Honest, because Honest helps out in the deck a lot, just to be able to send it to the graveyard during battle phase when you attack with a light monster is just really good in the deck to be able to get over all sorts of different cards. We play a single copy of the Barrier Statue of Heavens. This card has the ability to make it so that neither player can special summon anything but light, which is really good to be able to stop your opponent from special summoning anything but light, and it's very easy to summon in this deck. And then we play 3 copies of Ash Blossom, rounding out the monsters. The 3 copies of Ash basically just stop your opponent from touching the deck, which is very, very important in this deck because you're going to want to deal with the least amount of cards, because this card pops 1 card every time it's summoned, but the less you have to pop, the easier it is to win. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is basically here to stop your opponent's hand traps. It's a really good card in this deck because it does stop those hand traps while you're trying to special summon out your copy of the Starry Dragon. We're playing a single copy of Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing is here because you can basically use this card with your copy of Utopia Double to detach a material, summon a copy of Utopia on top of it, and search this card. And then the Utopia comes out at 5,000. Swing at your opponent with the copy of the Utopia, detach your material, negate the attack, drop Double or Nothing, and then go in for 10 10,000 attack points, which is a really good effect to just go in and basically OTK your opponent with that card if your opponent does not have, or if your opponent has a monster that has 2,000 attack or less. We then play 3 copies of Starry Night Bellfire. Bellfire is pretty good because it lets you add a Starry Night monster or a level 7 Light Dragon monster from your deck to your hand. And then if you control no monsters and your opponent controls a dark monster, you can special summon a level 7 Light monster from your hand, which is a great effect just to be able to go in for additional plays. We then play 3 copies of Starry Night Ceremony. Starry Night Ceremony comes in very handy in this deck as well because it has the ability that during your main phase, you can reveal a Light Fairy monster in your hand, and if you do, add a level 7 Light Dragon monster from your deck to your hand, then place that revealed monster on the bottom of the deck. And if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can special summon one level 7 Light Dragon monster from your hand, which is a great effect just to be able to get it out on your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. I'm playing Pot of Extravagance in this build because I'm not too concerned about the extra deck, because you're basically playing a Utopia package in here to be able to OTK your opponent, but the majority of your plays are going to be coming from the main deck to be able to special summon out your copy of your Starry Night Dragon. We're then playing 3 copies of Forbidden Chalice because with Crossout Designator running around, your opponent probably isn't going to expect this. They're going to expect an Infinite Impermanence or maybe a copy of the Effect Veiler, but maybe not Forbidden Chalice. So Forbidden Chalice comes in handy because it negates monster effects, and it does come in very handy to stop your opponent's plays. We then play 3 copies of Ties of the Brethren. Ties of the Brethren comes in very handy in the deck as one of the key cards of the deck because it has the ability to target a monster that you control that's level 4 or lower, pay 2,000 life points, and then special summon 2 more monsters from your deck with the same type, attribute, and level as that monster. And since every one of our fairy monsters is a level 4 in the deck, so you can really easily use this card to special summon out multiple Starry Night monsters from the deck. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps because we actually play a couple of traps in here. So we're going to be playing a single copy of Starry Night Blast. Starry Night Blast has the ability that when your opponent activates a card or effect, you return one level 7 Light Dragon monster you control to your hand, negate the effect, and if you do, destroy that card. It's a really good card in the deck, and I really like it as a one of in here. And then we play 3 copies of Starry Night Arrival. Starry Night Arrival has the ability that during the main phase, you can activate one of these effects to target a level 7 Light Dragon monster you control and return to the hand, or special summon one level 7 Light Dragon monster from your hand. Basically, it's rotating through your copy of your Starry Night Dragon over and over again, so you can eventually pop cards like a bunch of times with this card, and it really helps out because it returns it to your hand, and then during the next turn, you can then special summon it out, which is great. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're playing 2 copies of Utopia Double. I just played 2 copies of Utopia Double because if I draw into the double or nothing, it kind of turns it off. But it's still a really good card to play in this deck to OTK your opponent. And it is a light monster, so you can special summon it under your copy of your Barrier Statue of the Heavens. But basically what this card does is you detach a material from this card, search double or nothing, summon a copy of Utopia on top of this. Utopia comes out at 5,000, attack your opponent, detach a material from the Utopia, and then swing again by dropping the double or nothing, going in for 10,000 attack points, which is great for this deck. We then play 3 copies of Utopia. Utopia is basically here to make with your copy of your Utopia Double, and it helps out a lot with this deck to summon this card because you can also go into your copies of Utopia the Lightning to go in for a 5,000 attack point monster. I love this card in the deck because if you draw into your copy of Double or Nothing, you always have your copy of Utopia the Lightning to go in for a 5,000 attack point attack instead of a 10,000 attack point attack, and this makes it so your opponent can't activate cards when it attacks. We then play a single copy of Tornado Dragon because it can pop spells or traps, and then I play 2 copies of Zeus as well. Zeus is basically here because you can throw it on a copy of Utopia after it attacks, a copy of Utopia 39, your copy of Utopia the Lightning, or a copy of Tornado Dragon to basically board wipe your opponent, which is a really good effect for this deck. I'm then playing for the Link monsters, just a couple of tech cards, a copy of Borrelsword Dragon to be able to OTK if I do need to, because it's really easy to actually summon this card to your side of the field. 1 copy of Unicorn because it spins stuff, so this card comes in very handy to deal with cards on your opponent's side of the field. 1 copy of IP Masquerena because it lets me Link summon during my opponent's turn. And for the last 2 cards of the the extra deck, I'm playing 2 copies of Pentastag. Pentastag is basically here because if the monster that it points to battles, it can inflict piercing damage, which is really handy, especially with your copy of your Utopia double. Being able to attack with a 10,000 attack point monster and giving it piercing damage just basically says, hey, I'm gonna OTK, which is a great thing to do with this deck. So that's pretty much it for this deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really fun deck to play around with. The deck isn't crazy expensive for the main deck, which is another plus about this deck, because all the Starry Night cards actually came out of Ghosts from the Past, which is really neat, because originally Starry Night Dragon was based on a card called Siaru, which is an older pink dragon, but they retrained it to be able to go into this archetype in the form of Starry Night, Starry Dragon, which is a really good card to be a boss monster for this deck. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.